All right. What's up, everybody? So, welcome back to the Rich Casual Business Academy. Thanks for everybody who is watching this video. By the way, if you're watching the recording, make sure you share this with someone who is a potential business owner. Share this with your whole community because we never know who's going to need, some resources. So today we're going to be talking about the difference between grants and loans, and then I'm going to also be walking you through a $20,000 grant that I just received in my inbox. We'll show you the questions they're going to ask. We'll show you a couple cheats, or should I say hacks, to help you fill out the grant proposal writing. And yeah, let's jump right in. So, a couple things I want you to understand. So, let's talk about the difference between a grant and a loan. So, one of the biggest differences is going to be the difference is whether you have to pay the money back. Typically, a business is going to receive a grant, go through the application process where they show that they qualify and agree to spend the money in a manner specified by the grantee. The grantee is going to be the company that is giving you the money. However, the business doesn't have to pay that back unless it violates the terms. Okay, so I want to rewind back to the COVID grants. Everybody was getting money, and 5 years later, we're starting to see headlines of people um, getting caught by the feds and having to pay that money back. So the difference between the most major difference between a grant and a loan is the ability to pay the money back. Loans are often easier to obtain because the lender is typically motivated by receiving the amount of the loan back plus interest, right? So the loan is going to give you some additional interest, whereas the grant, there's not going to be any interest tied to the bank or the credit union. And then there's also going to be specific terms for your grants. So if your grant is for food-based organizations or businesses, a consulting firm is not going to be able to apply. So there's strict guidelines with your grant and the way you can use a grant. Whereas the loan, once you get qualified for the money, you could pretty much use it for anything. One thing I do want to mention is, and I'm reading this strictly straight from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce website. So that's uschamber.com. I'll link everything down below, obviously. But applying for a grant is low risk for small businesses. They often come with eligibility requirements, like we just talked about. Grant recipients may need to report back to the grant maker on how the funds were spent and provide documentation on the company's progress. Some things I've experienced with clients in the past, they typically, want the personal guarantee of the owner of the company. So they're going to do maybe a soft or a hard pull on your credit, make sure you are who you say you are. And then they want to make sure that your business um, fits the eligibility requirements for the grant. So unlike grants, loans don't require proof of progress. So once you get the money, it doesn't matter as long as you make the payments on time plus the interest, right? Because the money is expected to be paid back so that the lenders see a return on their investment, loan applications often come with different requirements that the business must meet to obtain the funding. So, for example, many lenders require businesses to be incorporated before they can apply. So that can be, S Corp, C Corp, LLC, etc. This helps to more clearly separate the assets of the business from the owner's personal assets. So if you haven't watched my previous video on, I started an LLC, what do I do next? Couple of the steps is to, start your business bank account, make sure you are incorporated within the state. So however you structured that business, these are some tips that are going to help you obtain your business loans and grants. Now, it becomes a little finicky when you have a personal bank account attached to your business. So how do you apply? So that's a great question. So whether you're seeking a loan or a grant, the first step is at assessing your funding needs. So you want to determine what exactly do you need the money for? Is it operations, right? Is it to scale and hire more employees? For myself, it would be something of, hiring a couple more part-time employees. Maybe it's to, buy more computers or any type of equipment for your business. But you got to find out, well, you have to assess your financial need. Now, it's not just to, get the money and spend it, right? It's spend it in order to help your company grow. So the grant application can be lengthy and highly competitive. So that's one of the cons of filling out a grant. They may be taking, 5 grants or 20 grants, and I'm going to show you an example pretty soon. But it could be highly competitive and the questions are very lengthy, but we got some cool little hacks to show you. I like to tell people, I advise my clients to have ChatGPT help you, kind of assist you. Don't have it write the grant for you, but it could give you some help. So the first thing you want to do, another step is just, do your homework. Start by researching the types of grants that are available to your organization, right? So like I said, if I'm in food and beverage, I want to look for grants that are specific to food or beverage. You want to draft a proposal. Most grants require you to submit information about your organization. They want to know how long you've been operating. They want to know your tax ID, right? Your operating agreement. They want to know, who's making management decisions. You want to establish a reporting system. So if your organization receives a grant, you must comply with the specific requirements, such as reporting the responsibilities that detail how the funds are spent. Now, loans focus more on your business's financial health. And here's a couple of tips. So you want to find a reputable lender, right? So not only do you want to make sure that you can get an adequate amount, but is that interest rate going to be favorable to you paying it off in a timely manner? You obviously want to compile your documentation to prepare for the lender, and the lender will interview you. In this interview, it's not like a face-to-face interview, but typically what you're going to experience is, them asking a bunch of questions about the financial health of the business. They also want to know who you are, right? Are you a person with a low credit score? Because maybe you, as the owner of the company, need to personal guarantee this business loan. And if you are a high risk individual, you might kind of scare away the bank or the credit union. All right, so I just received an email. This email was from Hello Alice. I'll make sure I link everything. And this is called the Remy Martin This Is My City grant. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen really quick. And I just want you guys just to understand what it takes to fill out a grant. We'll look over some of the things, the requirements for this grant. All right, so this is the Remy Martin This Is My City grant. Are you an emerging creative making a lasting impact in Atlanta, Chicago, Detroit, or New York City? So like I mentioned, grants are specific to certain industries and regions. So if you're in Atlanta, Chicago, Detroit, or New York City, this is for you and you're a creator. So for myself, I'm in California. Does not apply for me. Now I do have a portion of our uh, consulting firm that does focus on creativeness, but I'm not in the proper region. This, this is my city grant program seeks visionaries, artists, musicians, designers, and entrepreneurs who are making a lasting impact in their communities. Groundbreaking leaders will receive $20,000 grant. Pretty significant. Paired with one-on-one mentorship from industry leaders to amplify their community impact. So I want you guys, don't sleep on the one-on-one mentorship. So remember when you're in a mentorship that your mentorship is having a coach, right? So I always, I love my sports references. If you're a basketball player, this is your shooting coach. If you're a golfer, this is the person who is showing you how to, putt, right? If you're a soccer player, this is the coach that's showing you how to play defense or dribble, right? So remember, your mentorship is someone who has experience in that field and is gonna not necessarily fast forward the process, but they're gonna cut out a lot of the mundane things that you might have to go through if you were to do it on your own, or you're to find a YouTube coach through YouTube University. So to be eligible, you have to be 21 years old. leading a for-profit business in the cities we mentioned. Applications are open now till April 11th, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's another requirement of a grant is the time frame, right? So with a loan, the time frame is necessary. It's not necessarily have an end date. You can apply for a loan now, in 6 months, in a year. It's ongoing because the banks or credit unions have a financial incentive of taxing you with interest and having you paying back interest over a period of time. So the ideal candidate is a creative entrepreneur, shaping the culture fabric of your city through innovation and community. From music to art to performance, you're making an impact. All right, so as we go through this, we're going to scroll through and I'll tell you exactly how the questions are going to ask. So are you at least 21 years of age? And these are all drop down, so you can click yes or no. And if you click no, you're going to be immediately taken out of the running for this grant. Is your business located in multiple locations? In in one of the following locations. Your first and last name, the best phone number for you. What is your gender, male or female? What is your race? Do you identify as LGBTQ plus question mark? Do you consider yourself to be an individual with disabilities? Yes or no? Do you have a military affiliation? Are you a veteran? Are you a military spouse? Maybe you're active duty. What's your age range? And these are all identifiers. So when you see those statistics, or maybe you've never seen those statistics where they say um, a military spouse of with the age between 50 and 59 received $20,000 in Atlanta, or they'll say 50% of our grantees were from Atlanta and their age was this and their background was this. What's the name of your business? Having a business website. Now, if you don't have a business website, there are some low cost web providers you can use. Does your business have a business Facebook page, Instagram handle, LinkedIn? And I would encourage that if you're starting up, just have a landing page on all of these platforms. Now, does it necessarily have to be active and you have 20,000 followers? No, but you do want to have a landing page so when they go and look and see who you are and what your business actually does, they find something. What year was your business founded? Prior to 2000? Your 9-digit federal identification number. That's going to be your tax ID. That's going to be, to make it simple, the social security number for your business. So you're recognized by the IRS because there's obviously going to be tax implications. Please select your industry. Okay, so here's your industry. If there's something in other, you click other. But there's arts, beauty, manufacturing, personal services. So when you're setting up your business, we always want to stay away from the high risk um, business industries like gambling, like trucking. Another high risk industry would be credit repair. Real estate actually is another high risk industry. What best describes your business primary focus? So all of my creators out there, anyone creating anything on, social media, design and fashion, music, sound and arts, food and beverage. What best describes your professional role? Okay, so what exactly do you do for your creator company? Street address, city, state, zip code. How would you describe your business? What are the products and services? Max 100 words. So for this, I would advise, so a couple things. When you're creating a grant, a lot of the questions are going to be rhetorical. So you want to make sure that you can maybe have like a Google Docs or a Microsoft Word sheet and have, I would highlight this right here. and I would put it into a Google Docs, and then I would put my answer and paste it into the Google Doc. And then I would just paste it back until my grant application. Because a lot of the questions they're asking, they're very similar. My business is and remember, this is for-profit businesses. So if you were to click this, you would automatically be disqualified. So this is another reason that I always emphasize getting your affairs into order, making your business established as one of these business entities. Right here. Partnership, LLC, C Corp. Because if you're just running this out of your kitchen, which is completely fine, but there's going to be a point in time where you're ready to scale. And when I send you this grant, if you're not one of these business structures, then you're automatically disqualified. Unfortunately, you just really can't put it under your own name. Annual gross revenue. Now, don't be afraid to put, less than 25,000. Oh, you're just starting up, you're not making a lot of money. But guess what? You still could get funded for this grant, right? So remember, a grant is to help you scale. A grant is for different portions of your business operations, to expand your workforce. And when you're applying for grants, these grantors automatically, well, they don't automatically know, but they know that you're not making 1.5 million yet or 5 million plus. They know that they're going to have some people who are just starting. So let's learn about the challenges of a small business and how we can help. Have you been turned down for a business loan from a traditional bank in the last 5 years? Yes, no, prefer not to say. I would always advise answer. If you have, maybe you have been turned down from a loan. It doesn't mean that you necessarily have bad credit. Maybe you just don't have credit at all, right? Maybe you don't have, the proper tax returns. Would you articulate your current business? How would you articulate your current business outlook? So for myself, my business is steady and I am confident we will stay afloat, right? Some of us are struggling, right? But it's okay. So like I said, these are just to put you in a bucket and to say that, 40% of our grantees were struggling woman-owned businesses in the state of New York. So what is the top business goal in the next 5 years? You go ahead and select that. Number 34, what is the biggest obstacle? 35, elaborate on your obstacle. And this is where you will use ChatGPT. Business and community, how does your business drive cultural impact? So what do, right? How are you making an impact in your local community? In the past 12 months, how has your business engaged with the local community? Right? Maybe you've hosted events, maybe you've collaborated with your local government. How do you make a positive impact? Okay, and then it says the most important part. This is your opportunity to share with us everything else we need to know in order to make this funding decision. You have 300 words per question. So tell us about yourself. Why did you become a small business owner? And so something like this, I wouldn't advise to use ChatGPT. Now, maybe you create your own response and have ChatGPT maybe clean it up a little. But this is a question that you should know for yourself. If selected as a grant recipient, which of the following do you plan to use this grant for? So like I mentioned, operations, sourcing, developing a new product, hiring employees, payroll, and marketing and advertising. And then please give a detailed plan on how you're going to use the grant and the mentorship. So if selected for funding and mentorship, how would you measure your success? Select your top 3 priorities. Number 43, how does your business contribute to your city's cultural landscape? Max 300 words. Number 44, we want to hear what makes you proud of your business. What would you consider to be your biggest accomplishment? and then a few final clicks. Please declare if you or your company have any conflict of interest. If you selected yes, you got to explain. If selected, would you be open to participating in press opportunities and attending events on behalf of Remy Martin? So this is where they're going to highlight you, right? So they're going to give you the spotlight for being a grant recipient. Would you like to receive exclusive updates? Yes or no? How did you hear about us? Now, this is where you can go entrepreneur organization if you heard about this through our school community. For myself, I get the Hello Alice emails. Our consulting firm gets the emails, so I get them all the time, and then I shoot them out to our clientele. Maybe you did a Google search, and then finally, you go ahead and submit your application. You come up here and you click submit, and guess what? You're in the money. All right, all right. So that was good. That was good. By the way, drop down below any comments that you want me to address once this is uploaded. Any questions you may have about grants or loans. And I'll tell you what I would write in ChatGPT. So I'll post a couple of these prompts in the school community. But this would, these are some. So when you're using ChatGPT, I want to tell you a couple things. So a couple tips. So if we're looking to, maybe we want to answer the question, how would you describe your business? What are the products and services you offer? So you don't want to go, hey, I help people start businesses and help them scale and grow and leave it at that. You want to use as much of the 150 word max as you can. So a chat GPT prompt I would use is, now remember when you're using chat GPT, the more you tell it, the better the response you get. So I would use something, I would say, as an experienced copyright, and I'm typing this into chat GPT, as an experienced copywriter who specializes in grant writing, your task is to write an outline for a grant proposal that focuses on and then achieving our goal. And then instead of goal, you want to put in the goal of what you want to achieve. This outline needs to clearly convey our objectives, methods, budget, and overall plan to reach the goal. You will need to ensure that the outline is persuasive and compelling, making a strong case for why our project warrants funding. The outline should be also structured in a clear and logical manner, making it easy for the grant receivers to understand our project and its potential impact. So I got a little more detailed when I'm talking to ChatGPT. I didn't just go, hey, I'm trying to get a grant for $20,000. Help me answer why my business needs the money, right? So I'm telling ChatGPT to act as a copywriter who specializes in grant writing. Another one you could use is, as an experienced, and this is the prompt you can type in, and I'll go ahead, like I said, and link this. As an experienced grant writer, your task is to thoroughly review a written proposal to ensure it meets all the requirements specified in the grant guidelines. This includes checking checking if the proposal follows the correct format, answers the questions, adheres to the word count, and aligns with the grant's objectives. It also involves ensuring that the budget, timeline, and project plan are realistic and well detailed. You should provide structure, feedback to improve the proposal if necessary. So cool. So that's going to wrap it up as far as writing grants. So like we mentioned, we'll just our action activities. Number one, if you are a creator in Atlanta, New York, let me find the states. so we can make sure that you guys can apply for this. If you are in Atlanta, Chicago, Detroit, or New York City, there's a $20,000 grant. You also have to be at least 21 years of age and leading a for-profit business. This is going to be the grant for you. The deadline is April 11th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Like we mentioned, you have to have an established business, meaning you have to be one of the business structures that we mentioned: LLC, S Corp, C Corp, sole proprietor, etc. I'll go ahead and link this down below. Make sure you guys give us a follow on Instagram at Rich Casual. Also, we're going to link our school community. Our school community is where we share all of these grants first. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. And if you like all this content, share this with somebody else. So I want to thank you guys for watching the video, and we'll see you later. Peace.